Hello students, today we are going to learn lesson number 6, that is a poem in your English literature book, that is Where the Mind is Without Fear. It is a thought-provoking poem by Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, an Indian writer. Tagore is a poet, dramatist, and often refers to as the Bard of Bengal. It is one of the best poems in the anthology called Gitanjali, which was published in 1912 and won the prestigious Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. When Tagore composed this poem, his mind was confined by the chains of slavery, like any other common citizens of India, because India was under the clutch of the British rule, where freedom was like daydreaming. Students, I am going to recite this poem. I hope you will enjoy the poem and then we'll understand the explanation of this poem. So let's start with this beautiful poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. As beautiful as it sounds, this poem is like a dream of R.N. Tagore, where he says that his countrymen should be free from any kind of fear of oppression or forced compulsion. He wishes that everyone in his country has his head high in the dignity. He should live his life with a way of self-respect. The poet dreams of a nation where knowledge is free and not restricted to some portion of the society based on class, caste, gender, and other barrier. Tagore wishes his countrymen to awaken and broaden their minds by enlightening it with the power of knowledge. In the next few lines, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, Tagore wishes for a world which is not fragmented by prejudices based on caste, creed, religion, or other baseless superstitions. So, in the next line, where the words come out from the depth of truth, it means Tagore wants a nation where people are truthful. They should not be superficial, and words should come out from the depth of their hearts, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. This is an example of fine personification in the poem. Tagore talks about his desire for a country where people would strive without getting tired to reach perfection, leaving behind prejudice and old traditions, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Tagore has used a metaphor and compared reason to a clear stream that flows smoothly. Just as a flowing river loses its way in a sandy desert, dead customs also harm all the good intellectual qualities of a man. It should not be overpower the real qualities of a man. Tagore wants the power of reason to dominate the minds of his countrymen. The power of reason. He doesn't want the stream of reason to be lost amongst outdated customs and traditions. and only that can direct the mind towards selfless thoughts and everlasting actions. Next, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Tagore wishes his countrymen to be open minded and progressive. True freedom lies in the mind which is always led forward by the universal mind of the Father into ever widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Through this line, Tagore expresses his vision of India as a heaven where there is freedom of thought, spirit, faith, speech, which will lead to the inner perfection of the self. It is to be noted that the heaven of freedom for which the poet praises is not the heaven of economic and political freedom, but the spiritual freedom from fear, narrow mindedness, and evil desires. Thus, Tagore wants spiritual, intellectual, and political freedom for his country. He taught society to strive for perfection, harmony, beauty. According to him, self respect and self esteem are psychological foundation for the development of individuality. The free flow of knowledge is the basis for a free and prosperous society. I hope this poem is clear to you. Rest, if there is any problem, you can ask me in the online classes. Thank you, students.